UFC, fuck you! No! UFC, fuck you! Troopers and grinders, welcome to Hank the Tank and Idaho Skatesman's recap of Beterbiev versus Bivol, but most importantly, the destruction of Taira at the hands of Brandon Royval. Such a damn shame, Skatesman. For the whole country of Japan, how could they do this to him?
Yeah, it happens.
It does?
A lot of Asian fighters lose in the UFC, man.
I hope you recognize that was soy sauce right there.
I was not expecting that. That was pretty extreme, but good stuff.
Thank you. What's also good stuff has been Hank the Tank's lock and underdog for the MMA weekend, damn it. And they only had one, and it was Octagon 62. Apparently, Skatesman, this was the most highly attended event in MMA history. Had a huge Superdome for the show. So, and they were able to sell it out. So, not bad from Germany. But then again, they, every country has its advantages.
What was the attendance?
Let me check. I don't know the numbers specifically, but I heard that it was the highest attended. Let me check that.
Sounds like bullshit to me. No, I'm just kidding.
So, attendance numbers. Okay, a world record attendance for an MMA event. Frankfurt, you were incredible. Oh, 59,000 fans. Over 59,000.
Sick.
Pretty good. So, good on you, fucking Germany.
Dana could probably break that. He just won't.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. He's too lazy or the countries just literally can't afford to have them there. We had my big underdog for Octagon with Lazar Todev against Adam Palaz. I said that Todev had beaten Palaz before by decision, and so I thought he would just be able to do it again. But no, he proved me wrong. And again, it goes to show that if you're picking an underdog or a lock from Hank the Tank, you got to do it by finish, quick finish. And so he got it done by round 2 KO. Very shocking result, but you got to love it. And then we had old Max Holzer. Surprising method of victory. Got him done by round 3 KO instead of round 2 sub, which I was expecting. We were all expecting. But now we know that Holzer can finally get out of the groove and actually finish the fight in other ways than submissions. So if anything, this is a good thing for Holzer. Good stuff. And that's it, man. There wasn't a lot of regional MMA besides the 2 big shows.
Yeah, and those 2 big shows were Beterbiev versus Bivol and the UFC card that happened this week. Overall, pretty good weekend for combat sports in general. I know that there was a boxing card this morning that I was not able to watch because it was at 2 in the morning. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts overall just on the weekend in general?
I thought it was fun. Thought it was good action. There were results that are memorable for both.
Also, Glory happened as well.
Glory was there. And were there any shoulder breaks, Skatesman?
No, man, that Glory card was pretty bad. There was a lot of decisions.
Yeah. So it was just cursed.
Glory just kind of is being Glory, man. I mean,
for better
every once in a while they'll put on a pretty good show, but I don't know. That company's kind of just fallen by the wayside, if you ask me. Unfortunately, if there's not a lot of light heavyweights on the card usually doesn't produce anything super significant. But
hey, Ali.
And by the way, what's up, Kobe? He's in the chat. What was the better card? Good to see you, Ali. What was the better card? Beterbiev versus Bivol or Taira versus Royval?
I honestly think it was the UFC card. I thought it was Royval versus Taira.
I mean, I think the main event of the boxing card and the co-main certainly delivered.
Yeah. For sure.
So there's that. But as far as card overall, it was a pretty short card. Yeah. And there's a lot less fights, but there was I think it was a 90-minute intermission between the co-main event and the main event. So in that circumstance, it loses some, points. Yeah. But
I also think the prelims for UFC Fight Night were pretty good as well.
Yeah, I thought that the UFC card over-delivered to our expectations. But with that being said, I wouldn't say either card was fantastic.
Yeah. But it was good enough. It was good enough for me to the point where I was able to watch it for 8 hours and not be like, "Oh god, why am I streaming?" Like, I never
Ollie says he liked the fight night better. Yeah, for sure. But
pretty
that
good.
main event was sick, and we're actually going to get to that. So, Hank the Tank, as he just said, he streamed for about 8 hours. He watched every single fight of both cards. Talk to me, brother. I did not. So, talk to me about this fight.
This fight right here, Marco Merrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started watching around Ben Whitaker versus Cameron because both these guys are scrubs. Literally, I had my sleep schedule so that I'd skip those two because there's
I
nothing to
heard that some very interesting things happened in this fight. A lot of people said that Ben Whitaker was losing to this guy, or at least, yeah. I mean, everyone said that he was losing. I did watch the sequence in which the fight was stopped in, and it appeared to me that Liam had gone in for a clinch. It was at that point that Ben Whitaker, and you can even see like, and again, like I'm always that guy that's just like, well, we don't really know exactly what happened, but it did appear that when he grabbed him, he threw himself back like a WWE move, and they went over the ropes and they collapsed on the other side of the ropes. Liam appeared to get up pretty soon after, but then that's where the clip that I had watched had ended. So run me through what the fight itself and then the finishing sequence, if you could even call it that.
Yeah, from what I recall, because I was still setting up the stream right in the middle of the fight. It seemed like Ben Whitaker wasn't doing his usual boxing style. Like he's getting in and out, he's dancing a little bit, he's hitting him. He was trying to like trade with Liam Cameron. He was not doing well. Like for every one punch he was throwing, Cameron was throwing 1, 2, 3 down the pipe and like catching him clean a few times. Not enough to like knock him down, but it's that kind of like death by 1,000 cuts where it's like he's gonna win the fight in every round if he keeps fighting this way. And that's what Ben Whitaker was doing, is to the point where Cameron was backing him up and hitting him with big blows as he was in the corner. Like it did not look like the Ben Whitaker of old. Like I don't know what his game plan or of his team or himself was going into the fight, but very surprising, very unexpected. Did not really work out in his favor, and he got super duper lucky that I don't even know if it was really a draw or not. You could have arguably said that Cameron had more rounds over him, but
so
I guess you could say it's a draw by the time.
The finishing sequence when they fell out of the ropes, they went to the cards after that.
Yes. And so basically Liam Cameron got basically right back up. Meanwhile, Whitaker had to be like moved to a stool. Then they had to check on his foot. I think it was a problem with his leg or his foot or something. I couldn't see the injury, so maybe he was faking a little bit. I don't know. But yeah,
he got wheeled out of the arena.
Yeah, they were checking his right foot, and then they wheeled him out. And it was basically just Liam Cameron standing in the ring with the referee right next to him. It's like, we go to the judges' scorecards. And he's like, what the fuck? He's responding to it. And then he's like, well, one has it for Whitaker, one has it for Cameron, and the other has it a draw. And Cameron just has an incredulous look on his face throughout the whole thing. So it was a wash. It was a circus.
That makes more sense why people were saying Ben Whitaker was losing, and then he kind of just pulled some shit to, again, like, I don't want to say this or that happened, but the way that he fell back, it was kind of suspect. It was kind of like, okay, what was that? What is up, Isha? Hey, good to see you, my friend. Isha. Just smash the like button. Exactly. The problem that Ben Whitaker is going to have is, heading into this fight, a lot of people were very divided on Ben Whitaker. Some people were like I was saying, he's kind of like the new Prince and Oz, in a way. Obviously, he's only had this would have been his 7th fight.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hated him because they said he was doing like clown show type boxing and all that stuff. So, but undeniably, the kid's got style and he's got flavor, and you want to watch him fight, whether it's to see him lose or win or just to see the antics. But boxing fans are going to kill this poor fucking guy for this. And I guess I didn't watch the fight. So do you think that is warranted, I guess?
What, the decision? Or with the hate that people are having for Ben Whitaker?
Yes.
Yeah, I could sort of see their point just from like his previous fight where he didn't really impress all that much. Going into this fight where he impressed even less, and then now it seems like the judges are on his side because he's a star. And it's sort of like a Paddy Pimblett where it's like, yeah, I mean the UFC's in his back pocket. No, not a lot of people are liking him. He didn't have a good performance, and he got rewarded for it. Like, Yeah, I can totally understand where they're coming from. If Ben Whitaker comes back and has a great performance afterwards, though, hey, all's forgiven. If you can find a
Yeah,
way to
that's
put
a
the
good
pieces
point.
together and get your game plan together, hey, we might just forgive you. It's like a strike one.
Yeah, it's like you're only as good as your last fight, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna cut the kid some slack. I mean, he's
Yeah.
6-1, 6-0-1. The one being this technical draw, which is weird. But I'm gonna cut him some slack. I think that he's young enough and he's on the way up. I mean, I don't think he's like a Kermel Mutton, right, or whatever the fuck his last name is.
Yeah.
But the real drunken master is Emmanuel Augustus. Exactly, chummy
Didn't have
boy.
his
And yeah,
drunken style.
Emmanuel Augustus, Prince Nassim, whatever. But even Emmanuel Augustus had terrible fucking fights where he was just clowning around and people hated him at the time too. So, but anyway, we move on to the next fight, which was Ariel Helwani's favorite boxer, Sky Nicholson, winning a unanimous decision over Raven Chapman. Who didn't see that one coming?
Of course, I saw it coming. I predicted on the show that Sky Nicholson would find a way to win, and he would be here on Monday, on this dreary Monday morning, for the premiere of the Ariel Helwani show. I should have been there. The interviewer, but I had the Buffalo Bills game on. So,
well, it was Yom Kippur too, so you were probably busy with your son.
That's
Walter.
right. I was celebrating with Walter. He had his poster right next to him while we were watching the fight, and my God, he was doing unspeakable things to it as the action was going on. I bought him 5 more after that. We got to get a surplus of that, baby.
Wait, Isha has a very weird. Hope he's not too drunk. He says we need the rematch in wheelchairs in Thailand with Onpo and Bob Sapp behind the wheelchairs, helping them get in and out of the pocket.
It's quite the imagination he's got there.
That's worse than my boxing card for Ryzen New Year's. Badr Hari versus Deontay Wilder.
Same level.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, run us through Sky Nicholson's performance and what do you think about her future in the boxing game?
Yeah, I think I called it a little bit with how Sky Nicholson was going to get it done. The nose knows. I did say that she would be good on the back foot and that, Chapman would have the drunken brawler style pressuring forward, trying to make it a fight. That Nicholson wouldn't let that happen and shoot in with her counter jabs and then press forward with a few right hands and just make sure that her style of fighting was getting completely neutralized. And that's basically what she did over 10 rounds. I don't think there were any moments where they're like, oh man, they're swinging. Holy crap, what a fight. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen with Sky Nicholson's style, but she knows her style so well that she can just paw at her at range. And she did do some damage, to be fair. Like, she was a little injured after the fight, but she just knew how to perfectly time Chapman's pressure-heavy style, and it worked. And she was able to beat her up in a few moments, and I'd say domination. I don't think maybe there was 1 or 2 where Chapman won a round, but for the most part, it was all Sky Nicholson. So I think she does have a promising future, but if they start getting some women from Brazil with some very interesting steroid testosterone, look out, because I don't think she's going to do very well against power punchers. Wait, Bill, are you muted? What's going on? There you go.
Good now?
No, yeah, now you're good.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see it actually muted. Does anyone actually care about Sky Nicholson besides Ariel Helwani?
The Ariel Helwani impersonator.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so I could keep doing Ariel Helwani voices.
What is Isha talking about? It was a freak show. I was shocked to see Ampo and Bob Sapp involved. What is he talking about?
I'm not sure.
That fight when sitting on a log over a stream, if you get knocked out in the water, you lose. What? All right.
Math chat's on fucking meth tonight.
Yeah, well, that's good. We need that. We need the energy. So the next fight was Chris Eubank Jr. versus Camille Shmurda. I gave Shmurda some props. I was like, I think Eubank will go to decision with this guy, but no, I heard it was pretty much utter domination. I was kind of listening in. I heard it was pretty much utter domination. Eubank had knocked him down multiple times. I was even hearing like they should have thrown in the towel. But yeah, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I just think this was systematic destruction from Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, I think in the early rounds, Zarameta, that was the best work from Zarameta when he was really trying to make it a fight.
I think it's Shmurda.
Shmurda was starting to make it. Him and Ola Topuria, the best the best.
You actually said it right just now, though.
Topuria?
Yeah, but you put an E on it. You say Tapiria. Like, there's no E.
Okay, Tapuria.
All right.
So anyway, those two fighters, I love those two. But anyway, how's his last name pronounced again? Say it one more time.
Ilya Taporia?
No, the boxer.
I think it's Shmurda.
Shmurda. Shmurda
It's like-
was doing
yeah.
well at the start of the fight, and then Eubank started to put 2 and 2 together and had great combinations, big power, crumpling him over and over again. I think he knocked him down with a body shot like 3 times. So started to realize that the body work was really starting to it was making the difference, and Shmurda just had nothing for him once the later rounds happened. It was just a matter of survival for him in the second half of this fight. But he did come out like a house of fire at the start and was catching Eubank a few times. So got to give Shmurda credit for staying in there as long as he did. But yeah, he knocked him down 3 times. He could barely stand the third time, and the referee just waved it off, which he should have. So brutal work from Chris Eubank Jr. He doesn't look perfect, but hey, he beat a camp.
Well, you know what? Now he's, I think, defended the IBO middleweight title. Middleweight's a terrible division. It's got no names at it at the current moment. Isha has a very interesting comment. If you could read it while I look up who the other middleweight champions are.
Sure. I made a reference to a wheelchair boxing match that occurred in Thailand and promoted by Ryzen from a few months ago that had Ampo and Sop involved, helping the fights who were in wheelchairs. Why wasn't the MMA guru there, dude? He's paraplegic. We need him in a wheelchair boxing match, not those two.
He's not, though.
Really? Sorry, I learned that from Aljamain Sterling that he was in a wheelchair, but I guess Aljo's mistaken.
So the other middleweight champion is Janabek. Gennady Golovkin somehow is still the IBF middleweight champion and also the WBA middleweight champion. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense because Chris Eubank is. And then it says that Jermel
Sarameta. Apparently that's his name. It's Sarameta. It's not Smurfs.
Okay. Wait, what the fuck?
Everyone at 160.
So you got Janabek and I guess Triple G is still the champ. Yeah, I would pick Janabek to beat him as well. Good to see you, SS Jackson. He definitely knows his boxing, so good to see him.
Smash that like, chat. Can we get 50?
I don't know, man. I'm still not super high on Eubank, but it looks like Nigel Benn will be next for him, and that's definitely a fight I'm very interested in. Nigel Benn obviously ruining his reputation in the boxing community, saying after he failed a drug test that it was just eggs.
Yeah,
it was just
man's
eggs,
having his protein.
But obviously in the 90s,
Salud,
Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. Had just a hell of a fight. So yes, carrying on their father's legacies of fighting each other is fantastic, I guess. But anyway, the next fight that occurred on this card was Jai Opetaia stopping Jack Massey in the 6th round. I wasn't super impressed, but Jai Opetaia gets it done after having just a really tough fight with Bradis, in which I was kind of unsure how he would look here, but he does get it done over a less than reputable opponent in Jack Massey.
Yeah. I think Opetaia did a good job for what he was supposed to do, which was beat up Massey against the ropes and not take a lot of damage because this guy's clearly not your caliber of fighter. And that's exactly what Opetaia did. Now, I know he had that rough fight before, but that looked like a different Opetaia in this one. Maybe it was just due to the different qualities of opponent, but still, I think Opetaia did what he needed to do, which was throw the combinations together, make sure not to get hit. When he's up against the ropes, beat him up, and he just kept doing that, man. And good on Jack Massey for never going down in this fight. I'm pretty sure he never went down, just withstood punishment for half the fight, and really didn't offer Opetaia anything on the feet. Like, obviously he's going to come in close with the clinch, trying to give some little shovel uppercuts, trying to make it a scrap. Opetaia was having none of that and just pushing him against the ropes. Bam, boom, boom. And too fast for him, getting in and out. Like, he looked like he looked like the Opetaia of old for once, a good boxer. But we'll see what happens with his next fight, whether that's actually true or not. But he did what he needed to do. And good on Massey for being tough.
So the next fight that happened was Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark. We were pretty split on this one. Obviously, they had fight of the year, in my book, at least. Their last fight ended in a draw. Hank said, hey, Fraser Clark was doing the better work throughout most of their first match. I think Fraser Clark gets it done here. I said, you know what? Fabio Wardley was like the more hyped of the two heading in, had some better performances. And I said, Fabio, he went through a lot of adversity in that second fight, and he just found a way to get it done, dropping Fraser Clark in the later rounds. And I was like, nah, he's that dude. Turns out that, and I picked him to win by decision or
even more
later round stoppage. But no, he came out there and he just straight up mauled Fraser Clark fast.
Yeah.
Broke his jaw, dented the side of his head. S.S. Jackson saying KO of the year. I mean, talk to me, man. It was fantastic performance for Fabio Wardley for sure.
Yeah. It was interesting. I wouldn't call it KO of the year just because he didn't fully like flatline him and it's like, oh, it's a knockout. It's like he beat him up and he injured him. And so the referee had to stop it after that. It was definitely a shocking KO. It's definitely like a contender. But I don't think of the year just because when I think of a knockout, I think of someone who's fully out. But still, Wardley just beat the shit out of Clark. Like as soon as he had him backing up, it was like all Wardley. Catching him with those huge hooks around the guard and every straight just caught him flush and just hurt him. Noticeably like shaken every time. So it just goes to show that Wardley has different fucking power. And maybe had the idea of like, dude, maybe I can just get him out of there quick and like really show that in the first 2 rounds, I'll just give it everything I freaking got. I don't want to deal with another decision to this guy. Hey, the game plan fucking worked, dude. Fraser Clark, when he's on the back foot, was just showing up like, oh, Jesus, what's happening to me? Like it was a fully different. You would not imagine in a million years if you watch this fight that they would go 12 rounds and that it would be a fight of the year contender. I thought it would just be like a squash match, but no, they had an unbelievable fight before, but this wasn't even close. I didn't see a moment of success from Clark.
S.S. Jackson says he turned his face into a scream mask. This knockout, when Fraser Clark was like up against the ropes, like kind of knocked out, it reminded me of Jersey Joe Walcott versus Rocky Marciano.
You mentioned that
on rewatch of that knockout, it wasn't exactly right because, well, I wanted to play it for you. Have you ever seen that knockout?
I have not.
I wanted to play it for you. Let me get it up here.
Down goes Wonka. Down goes Wonka.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Facebook page.
So Rocky had been dropped in a round previous to this. You can see Rocky look. He's just trying to line him up for the Susie Q. That's what they called his right hand.
Here, Rick,
bang!
Damn. Ooh. Oh, I remember that follow-up shot. I've seen this before. Yeah.
Look, they're counting him out. They're giving him a full 10 count. He's already dead.
He's done. He's already dead. Yeah. What the fuck, dude? Poor guy.
Oh, now my fucking screen's gonna bug out. So let me. He's already dead. Yeah. So it kind of reminded me of that. Obviously, nothing beats that knockout. Yeah. Fucking Rocky. That's one of Rocky's most famous knockouts. But yeah, certainly vicious knockout, and just a good win for Fabio Wardley. Young guy at heavyweight, so be interesting to see what he does next. So the next fight was a cause for much deliberation and contention and almost just violence, because in the Rush Hour MMA chat, S.S. Jackson was part of some legendary arguments that occurred inside of that chat. People going back and forth with him saying he's a stupid casual. He doesn't know shit about boxing because Bivol is just going to whoop Beterbiev's ass. This fight turned out to be a really, really good fight. Fantastic fight. Not one of the best fights I've ever seen. Obviously, neither man actually got dropped. I think that kind of makes a good fight, what it is. But probably one of the most significant fights in recent memory, and just built up for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there is a case for people to say Bivol should have won. I thought there was a case for a draw. In real time, I did score it. Beterbiev just winning one more round, but I think upon in hindsight, there was a lot of times where Arthur was not really landing super clean on Bivol as he was
Yeah.
moving back. The most significant thing that happened to me was in the first first 3 rounds, I think Bivol was largely controlling the match. But in the 4th round, I noticed that Beterbiev started using his jab more, and then it was Bivol that was throwing more hooks.
Yeah.
But
Almost
no matter what, I think this is a classic. Good fight, razor thin. What were your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I honestly think that Beterbiev did win that fight. When I watched it at the time, I thought it was a draw, mostly based on the commentary scorecard for the fight afterwards. Now I know that I got to just have my own pen and paper and write this shit down during a big boxing fight just to make sure that I'm right. Got my credibility on the line. But there were rounds that I thought Beterbiev won. Like the first 4 rounds, I think Beterbiev won a few of them. Like round 1, I had it for Beterbiev, and maybe even round 3, I had those 2 for Beterbiev. But then the commentary is like, oh, it's been all Bivol this whole time, and again, the commentary has the knack for manipulating their audience into thinking something completely different is happening during the fight.
Timothy Bradley was really terrible tonight or this night. He even saying after the fight, he's like, yeah, it was a good fight, but didn't really live up to expectations. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
You're a commentator. You're supposed to be selling the fight, not being
it wasn't really that great. It's like, what the fuck?
Can him. Get rid of him.
In my own personal opinion, I thought the first round, and it kind of always goes this way. In the first round, it's like a toss up. I had it for Beterbiev. I thought that the next 2 went to Bivol, and then by the 4th round, Beterbiev was winning. I thought that there was more rounds that I guess that the rounds that Bivol won, or that Beterbiev won, you were like, oh yeah, that's Beterbiev's round.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other rounds for Bivol were like, oh man, close round. And then by the 6th round, I was like, I don't even know. And then I thought Beterbiev clearly won the 12th round. SS Jackson says Beterbiev's constant jabs to Bivol's guard throughout were piling up throughout and helped get Bivol buttered up for the round 10, 12 shell shock.
Yeah.
I
completely agree with that. I think that Bivol did win the rounds 10, 11, and 12. Just because, again, Skatesman and I have talked about...
You mean Beterbiev.
Beterbiev, yes. Because we've talked about before, there's a different rule set regarding who's winning rounds in boxing. Like forward pressure and getting a guy against the ropes and being the clear aggressor during the round can count for more than during an MMA fight. Like you could be an aggressor and they're just countering you every single time they win the round. In boxing, you can push them up against the ropes and land a few shots and you could win the round, like Sugar Ray Leonard, right? When he'd get a guy up against there and do a big flurry, and even if it didn't mean that much, hey, he was the aggressor there. There were a bunch of rounds that were for Beterbiev, in my opinion, based on that criteria. In the first half of the fight and in the second half of the fight. At worst, I thought it was a draw. At most, I had him up by 1 round, maybe 2.
If Bivol would have won, would you have been upset?
No, I wouldn't, because it was a close fight, and again, I had it a draw going into it, so I actually expected a draw. It's crazy to me how much people were just so upset.
Oh my gosh, dude! And that's kind of something I want to talk about after the fight had ended. It was like the Hatfields and McCoys over in Rush Hour's chat, dude. People were fucking just ready to kill each other over the decision, and I knew it would happen. And then I was trying to tell people, I'm like, dude, you guys cannot go crazy after this decision is read, because it could be for either man.
Yeah. It's a close fight. It's a close fight.
And a fantastic fight. There is a clip out there circulating where Turkey Al Sheik goes up to Bivol and he's pointing at him, and you can kind of hear him, or you can kind of see him mouthing You won. Sorry, that's my turkey on the sheik impression. But
You
he's
get
like,
a car. You get a car.
yeah, well, he's like, you won the fight. You won the fight. I'll make sure there's a rematch. So I guess we're getting a rematch. Beterbiev's, finishing 100% finish rate is now comes to an end,
Yeah.
which I did not think he would knock out Bivol in this fight. I was hoping that he would win. Both of us officially had picked Bivol to win. I thought he fought great. But I don't know, man. I actually think that both their stock rises a little bit or doesn't go down in this fight because I thought there was things that happened from Bivol where I was really impressed. Just at times he was just going at Beterbiev. Even appeared to hurt him at times, but then Beterbiev was like, "Fuck this! I'm coming back," and hit him with a good shot, and then Bivol on the back foot.
Yeah.
So both men just I think showed new wrinkles in their game, and Beterbiev almost 40, man, and he's still able to just
still
be that dog, man. And again, and this is something I was trying to tell you, like heading into the fight, and maybe you saw it now. It's like he is not a one-punch knockout guy.
No, he's actually really good at putting combinations together and pushing a guy backwards. That was the most impressive thing for me, is because there were times where Bivol was trying to take control and get him up against the ropes. All it took was one jab from Beterbiev, one hook, and he's like, oh shit. And now all of a sudden it's Beterbiev pressuring forward for the rest of the round. He like pulled a Bivol where it's like, dude, I'm going to make this my fight, and I'm going to make you back up against the ropes, and you're the one trying to get away from the bull. And he did that for most of the fight, and I think that's a bigger accomplishment than anything else that happened in this fight. It's worth it for him to snap that KO streak when he beat Bivol, and make him the one on the back foot. Like, that's only even more impressive in my eyes.
And like I said, I mean, I don't think Bivol ever fought a guy like Beterbiev, ever. Even in Canelo, like, even though I thought Canelo fought good at times, I mean, Bivol largely just whooped his ass. But regardless, I mean, Beterbiev is a natural light heavyweight, and I think that Beterbiev, though he fought like more name guys, like you could make an argument that some of those guys weren't in their primes, but Beterbiev fucking stopped him. So
Bivol was never getting out muscled by Canelo. He could get out muscled by Beterbiev.
Right.
And 100%. So I just found it crazy, Turkey Al Sheik's reaction to this. Oh no, terrible result. I want the rematch right away. This is bad. Like, come on, man.
Now, well, again, I don't know if he actually said that, but
he sounded incredulous.
Yeah, he didn't appear to be too happy. What's up, the Soda Pod? It's Isha coming in on another channel. Good to see you, man. Thanks for supporting us.
What was the weird part was that Kadyrov was there.
Oh yeah, Kadyrov was there. Arrest him. This is a setup. We got you. We got him. It's like what?
Yeah. That might have even added to people's like, see, the dictator's there. They screwed the result. They rigged it.
You know my thoughts on Ramzan Kadyrov. I'm not a big fan of the guy. But this is why I shitted on Justin Gaethje and Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo so hard for going over there and hanging out with that man. It's like, dude, you guys have no reason to be hanging out with this guy. Khabib, Hamzat, Beterbiev, he's Chechen. I don't even give these guys any hate. There's no reason to say anything about them being associated with this man, because I think they kind of have to be. It's like they like literally have to be. They don't have a choice.
Yep, pressures them. He's got the power. He's got the money.
Exactly. So again, it's like, Ramzan Kadyrov was there, which is a sight to see for sure. I think it's certainly
holding.
It's not as sketchy as fucking Dana White shaking his hand and his sons being at that event in Abu Dhabi. That's way more fucking sketchy, if you ask me.
Crazy.
So
this was just a crazy fight, either way, outcome and in terms of what happened. So very memorable.
Sure. Timothy Bradley smoking crack, dude, talking about, the fight wasn't really all that good. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about, bro?
Like there are people in UFC and other MMA promotions and even in wrestling who are watching absolute shit on their screens and have to pretend like it's fun and like it's been an exciting night of action. That's your job, is to promote the fight regardless of what's happening. You're a salesman, and that is the opposite of being a salesman. You're a detractor. That's fucking ridiculous.
I don't know what he was talking about. Even in that regard, though, like the fight was fucking fantastic.
It was great. I don't know
Again,
what
I'm sitting here saying it wasn't fight of the year. I don't know what the fuck Tim Bradley was expecting.
I guess the commentator wanted like, oh, I wanted people to get knocked down left and right. Oh, big right hand drops Bivol, but then Bivol pressuring forward. Is like, I bet he had no, like, it was the opposite of whatever image he had of what the fight was going to be. And that's why he was all pissed about it and all up in his feelings. What a terrible promoter. So
even some of the other commentators were like, "Geez, that's kind of extreme there." Blah 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 blah. But yeah,
boxing's extreme lows and highs. At it,
yeah. Let me
and Bivol not
get
getting
the Tapology pick'em results up.
I agree. I know it's you.
Let me get the
overall
Tapology group
on the card. I think it was solid, especially the co-main event and the main event. Saved the damn thing, in my opinion. But also, dude, like it's so weird, like judging cards sometimes and their quality, because sometimes there's just shit you've never seen before, and so you're like, what precedent is there to say this was a memorable card or this was a good card? It's like having like the bite on the shoulder of Andre Lima. Like, I actually consider that, dude. I remember that, dude. That was like a fucking zombie. That was the highlight of the card. And so, like, when Ben Whitaker and Leon Cameron went over the top rope like it was fucking Bret Hart and Lex Luger in a Royal Rumble, I was like, dude, that was fucking awesome. I don't care what happened after that. I want my fucking chaos. And I got
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So, as far as how we did on this UFC card, looks like Slumdog Bebop. I believe that's Sven Svensson. He got first place. Roberto Hernandez, like he's in the running to actually win the whole thing. He got 8th this time. Hank the Tank getting 9th, and then I got old 13th there.
Very respectful. A lot of people got 13. Look at that.
Yeah, I was tied with Dane and Dougie. Sparks, my good homie, getting 18th. Paulman 19th. Weedy 19th. Sean Mooney down here at 22, and Denial is below him. What do you know? Yep. Granted, sitting at 29, been on a bad run as of late.
It's a far cry from Moody being in 28th, 29th, 30th. Like, he is consistently like in the early 20s region, or sometimes even between 10 and 20. So
definitely a bottom of the barrel picker.
Yeah, and I'm beating his ass now in our the 6-game event. So I'm happy.
Well, you should be.
Yeah, I know. I'll do better, Master.
Please. Yeah, I don't know why. Look, it's good to make picks and try to be up there, but it's fun. But he's just been talking mad shit to you lately.
Yeah, I think it's.
And it cracks me up because it's like, dude, Sean, like, you're not gonna get this done, my friend. I love you, but
wham wham wham. I could come back, Hank. 2 more cards, brother. I'm full ahead.
My friend used to smoke meth and mess with his dog. Like, what?
Yeah. Now
what are you talking about, Sean?
This is the leprechaun, Sean Moody. I used to have a horrible domestic life and horrible thing with drugs. Now my new addiction, dude. It's Tapology picks. Yeah, brother.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let's get into this fucking card that was. I relied solely on Hank the Tank for this pick here. Clayton Carpenter defeats Lucas Rocha. Both men making their debut. Didn't really give a shit too much about this. Hank was like, dude, he's going to sub him. He's going to get it done. And he did.
I said it was a possibility. I had him by decision as well.
Oh, my apologies.
I said the sub is definitely there.
Right. Clayton Carpenter had like little to no resistance in this fight, beat the hell out of Lucas Rocha and got the sub. Rocha didn't really have much for him.
Yeah. There were moments where they were going back and forth on the feet, and I had to remind Clayton, dude, you're a grappler. You're a wrestler. Take him down. Come on. And then usually a few, like 30 seconds after I'd say that, he'd get the takedown. And I was like, attaboy. So he's actually listening to his coach's instructions. And he was, fucking fly paper. Once he was on the ground, he would not let Rocha back up. To be fair, like, I remember saying during my prediction that Rocha's very malaise on the ground. He doesn't always try his best to get back up. I noticed there were moments where he's like,
like actually really pulling to get up, but Carpenter's just so good at like changing positions and finding his way into half guard to full guard to side control to make sure he doesn't get up. I love those wrestlers that know that their job is to keep the striker down and to gas him up and gas him out. And then once they're gassed, beat the shit out of them once they're on the ground. And that's what Carpenter did. He hit a big elbow that opened up a nasty cut over Roca. If that had gone into the third round, who knows if that fight could have been stopped over time. It was a pretty big freaking cut. But then in the second round, took him down again and just seamlessly got into the double hooks, got in the choke. And dude, I you got to respect Roca for this. He followed that one fan's resolve where it's like, I'm going to black out before I tap out, bitch. And that's exactly what his eyes like were literally bulging out of his head. Ugh,
that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
He did get slept. Cool. And it was good to see him like get choked out cold, and then like a couple seconds later, he was back up on his feet. Like, okay, all right, he's good.
Just for a second. But very I gotta give him credit for refusing to tap out Michael Bisping style. But still, dude, this is why Carpenter got that bonus, is because he was out. I love it.
Yeah, it was sick. The next fight was Dan Argueta versus Cody Haddon.
Yes.
I thought that Dan looked pretty
solid.
Good is a stretch, but he definitely fought hard. He's a scrappy dude. When you're going up against Dan Argueta, you know you're going to get a fight out of it at the very least. Both men cut each other. I think it was Cody who was leaking like off his forehead at one point. But nonetheless, Cody gets the decision win. I thought the fight was kind of overperformed for both of these men. Well, maybe I just thought Dan Argueta just looked better than I thought he would, even though I knew he would, even in a loss, you know. So, talk to me though. What was your opinion on the fight? I know you watched it a little closer than I did.
Yeah, I think Haddon was really solid once it got into the last couple rounds, where he really started to put his combinations together. And even when he was gassed, like he was slow, but he was still like composed the entire time. Like you can tell when a guy's gassed, but he's still like willing to like keep himself defensively on point and make sure to keep his head in the game. Like I gotta say that Haddon was always like locked on to his opponent. He was never like a certain fat Samoan that we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get to that
a little bit. He kept on the pressure even when he knew that he was tired. One thing I will criticize Haddon for is that there were moments where he's like throwing a punch and then he slips. He like just trips over himself and like falls over and like allows Dan Argueta to get on top and bust open some of those cuts on Haddon. So I think he's got to be careful in terms of his footwork and his technique, because sometimes he really lets himself go when he's throwing the big shots. And then as the fight went on, like Haddon started to think differently and be like, dude, I could just throw a few combinations. I don't have to have these big bombs. Like I can just 1-2 body shot, 1-2 around the guard. Like he started to get more like relaxed in there. And I think he did better the more relaxed he was in the cage. Because I think he might have had the UFC debut jitters a little bit, because like, how do you trip over yourself just randomly when you've been like a striker for like, your whole career? It was just a little weird to me, but I've seen certain young guys like just trip and fall over themselves sometimes. And I think there is a mental part.
I mean, even Dustin Poirier in his early career, like he would just throw punches so hard that he would just fall. So I don't know. I mean, UFC jitters, yeah, it could be, but I just think he's just a young cat, just getting his stripes. So
solid work from Argueta for never giving up and keeping pressure on him. But Haddon, I think, is just too good and too slow.
Should Dan Argueta be cut after this fight?
No, because it was a good fight and a good performance, in my opinion. I wouldn't blame him for cutting him after the Matsumoto bullshit, though. I'll tell you that much.
I had this fight on the screen. I didn't watch it. Pilastri got the decision win. You had Pilastri by decision as well. So tell me what you thought.
Actually, I had her by round 2. Yeah, I really allowed you to get close in moments, too close. But I started to put
too close, man.
Yeah, you're too close. I can't let you get close. Calm down, Wanderlei. But basically, Julia Pilastri was just better. As Homelander says, I'm better. Just had slicker combinations, good at pressuring her up against the fence. Like McKenna just looked slow in there, to be honest.
She's terrible.
Yeah, horrible on the feet. Looked like an amateur. She should get cut after this fight. in my opinion. And
she's never been anything impressive.
Yeah, to the point where
she's literally only in the UFC because she trains at Team Alpha Male.
Yeah. Oh God, that gym's gonna die one of these days. A slow, painful death. But she basically, most of McKenna's offense was pulling a Mario Bautista and leaning against her up against the cage and not doing anything. But Pilastri had enough of that bullshit and was just the better striker and got her down in moments. And yeah, Pilastri's just better everywhere and more technical. So
I just did know that Corey McKenna like has some grappling, and that's why I picked Pilastri by decision. I didn't see her finishing Corey McKenna.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess that held true. But yeah, I don't understand. I mean, and sorry, I mean, I don't mean to like just shit all over Corey McKenna, but it's like she's not a fighter.
No, she's
you know what I'm saying?
Fighter. Yeah,
like she has skills in MMA, I guess, but just like as far as a fighter, like just definitely
not there. It's not there.
On the opposite side of things, two men that are basically just fighters and not MMA guys was Junior Tafa and Sean Sharaf. This fight was shades of Kimbo Slice versus Dada 5000. First 2 minutes were fun. Sean Sharaf landing shots, Junior Tafa taking shots, landing some back. Sean Sharaf then starts to implement some grappling. I was like, oh shit, this is over. But Junior Tafa actually was able to, kind of get back up to his feet, land some more shots. Then in the second round, it's pretty clear that both of these men were completely gassed out, had almost nothing left. But I was getting concerned for their well-being in there, not because they were fighting each other, but because I thought they were both literally going to have a heart attack. This was in slow motion half the time. But nonetheless, Junior Tafa does get it done in the second round. He knocks out the debutant Sean Sharaf after Chris Barnett pulled out. By the way, that would have been a way better fight. Chris Barnett versus Junior Tafa. Chris Barnett is like way fatter than both of these men combined, but he has way more like of a gas tank than these guys.
Like watching this, I actually think that Barnett could have just taken Tafa down and
yeah, literally
get out of him on the ground, then did the little front flip in celebration. Like he would have won.
I totally agree. What was your thoughts on this pretty horrible fight? But did end in a knockout, and you did get it right.
Yes. I think it was really back and forth for a lot of it, but what defined the fight was like a difference in chin and difference in like toughness, because Tafa was able to eat some hard fucking combinations against the fence and then almost get finished at the end of round one, in my opinion. Like if he hadn't have like moved during certain moments in that closing sequence, like I think the referee had a good reason to stop it. Crazy that he came back in round two. But I noticed when Sharaf hit Tafa with big shots, he would stay the same and be composed and be in the same stance. When Tafa hit him with something, he'd be like, whoa. Like he just was more shaky and fragile. He like couldn't take the shots at Tafa.
In the second round, definitely that was really apparent too. You could see Sean's eyes like just getting really wide.
Yeah. But I got to give Sean Sharaf credit for piecing up Tafa in a lot of moments during this, especially on short notice. But both these guys are, out of. I mean, he's in good shape, and he looked like an out of shape heavyweight in there. And so did Sharaf.
So true.
Yeah, both these guys.
And he was in good shape. That's fucking hilarious.
Both these guys are bottom of the barrel. Tafa's super lucky. I thought the Tafa losing streak would continue at the end of that first round, but then Tafa just poured on the shots. He was taller, he was more technical, like I said, and then as soon as he got a few more combinations, but honestly, it didn't even like happen after he got a few more combinations. Like it took him way too long to get the finish. Like he was hurt and he was like, oh, I'm against the cage. I don't even know where I am. And Tafa's like, okay, I'm just gonna stand around.
Yeah.
Or it was embarrassing, dude. But
it was embarrassing. It was a barroom brawl.
After he got the TKO, and I'm going to let Robin Black describe this one. The end of the fight was like Robbie Lawler and Carlos Condit. Both men were holding over.
Dude, do not compare this fight to Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit.
Both men were so exhausted, Skatesman. This was like an epic. Both men needed oxygen masks. This is truly a oh god. That was Robin Black during the Karate Combat card when he had that cake and then he like just tripped over and the cake went flying. They could have done a car crash sound effect. That is true. But this fight it sucked and it was so bad it was good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was so bad that it was good. Perfect way to cap that off. So Themba Gorimbo gets a decision win over Nico Price. I had picked him to get it done by knockout, and I really think that he needed a knockout here because this was largely unimpressive. Credit to Nico Price, though, for being able to hang in there. There was definitely a time in the second round where I was like, dude, I'm getting it right. I'm getting this one perfect. He's going to knock him out. He was hurting Nico Price with some ground and pound shots, just hitting him over and over while he was on the ground. But Nico Price hangs in there. He loses the decision. Should be fucking cut. But as far as Themba Gorimbo goes, I mean, he had some moments where he was impressive, and then for the rest of the fight, he wasn't really doing enough. What was your opinion on the fight?
Yeah, if you could call it a fight. I mean, Nico Price looked super slow in there. Like his technique, the really explosive, he could hit you from anywhere style of Nico Price. It just looks like it's gone, man. Yeah, like he has very like.
Dude, it's been gone. I people were telling me, oh, dude, Nico Price, he's good underdog in this one. It's like, no, he's fucking not.
No, he's not at all. Yeah, he looked geriatric in there. He got a few clean combinations every once in a while, but it was mostly it's the Gorimbo show. This is my show. But even then, like, you can never underestimate the ability of Gorimbo to be a nut hugger during his fights. I'm sorry, he got one KO, and people are like, oh, this guy has so much power. He can knock people out. He can. He just chooses not to. Like when Nico Price was hurt, he got him down. And they just laid on him a little bit, tried to get in more advantageous position. But I knew that Gorimbo was going to shoot way more takedowns than people thought he would against Nico Price. And that's what ended up winning him the fight. And then in the third round, it was just all Gorimbo's on top, applying pressure. That's it. The fight's over. So this was a bad fight, in my opinion. Both men's stock is just like the same place it was before, if not worse. I didn't like
with that being said, do you have a matchup for Themba Gorimbo?
I don't. I really don't. I mean, maybe we could look through it, but yeah. I'd say the guy that doesn't allow him to keep going up the rankings.
I'm thinking Gabriel Bonfim.
Sure, why not? Sounds fun. Good test for Bonfim. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, I did pick him by knockout, and it wasn't because like I was like, dude, he's a knockout guy because he got one knockout. I just thought Nico Price was so washed that he would knock him out. But now Nico Price hangs in there somehow. Next fight was Pat Sabatini versus JSP. I got this one completely wrong. I gave JSP credit. Again, I wasn't like super high on him. I thought this was kind of a toss-up heading into it. I thought the JSP in his last two losses didn't look horrible. So I was like, dude, Pat Sabatini kind of sucks. And JSP does kind of too, but I think he'll win the splitty. No. This goes to show you, man, when you and I had asked you the question in the preview show. I was like, hey, do you think that Pat Sabatini is like physically more just more of an athlete? And you were like, yeah, definitely. And that goes to show you, man, anytime you are unsure of a fight, generally the more athletic of the two is going to get it done. That was the case here. JSP was like, cool, I'll play the ground game with Pat Sabatini, and he paid for it, getting subbed in the first round. Bad look for JSP because I think that's all I really had left, right, was that he had some serviceable grappling. But to be fair, like Pat Sabatini is a monster on the ground, though I think that's really all that he's got going for him. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the fight?
I was very happy to see Pat Sabatini get the round one sub. I did think that he would outmuscle Jonathan Pierce just because there were moments where even David Onama was able to outgrapple Jonathan Pierce. So I just thought to myself, Pat Sabatini, he shoots for that takedown right out of the gate. And he tried it on Diego Lopez. He stuffed it because he's a nimble guy and he's a BJJ guy himself. Meanwhile, like with Jonathan Pierce, I see him as he either outgrapples you or you can outgrapple him. And so this time, Pat Sabatini outgrappled him. And I just thought, which of these two guys is going to really do a number on the other guy if they get on top? And I thought it's Pat Sabatini because, like, even though he sucks on the feet, like when he gets you down, like he tries to finish you. He mounts for more positions. He's a fucking house of fire. He has more energy, and he's gotten submissions, like relatively quick submissions once he's gotten his opponents down. I thought it was really fun watching Sabatini get on top and then go on the back, and then Pierce is able to lift him up, boom, rear naked choke right out of the gate, backpack. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, Sabatini's I thought he was the better submission expert out of the two of them as well. It was really fun watching this fight in real time, just because like I had Jonathan Pierce's little "do something, boy, do something" in my head. So when he was on Jonathan, I was like, "Hey, GSP, do something, boy, do something, why you do something?" And then Pat Sabatini got it. So that was fun.
A matchup for Pat Sabatini.
I don't know. Where is he at in the rankings right now?
31 on Tapology. The guy right beneath him is Julian Erosa. I mean,
hey, that'd be fun.
That would be fun. It doesn't really do anything for either man, though, but besides just like having him stay busy, I think it would be a fun fight, though. You got guys like Steve Garcia, Chepe Mariscal, but they're both on huge winning streaks, so I don't think that's warranted. There is a Muhammad Naimov in there coming off of a submission loss to Felipe Lima, who we just found out is a fucking absolute beast.
I wouldn't have him up.
I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. I mean,
I hasn't. Wait a minute. Hasn't Nate the Train been booked against Pat Sabatini before?
I don't know. And you know what?
He was.
Where has Nate the Train been?
Yeah, it's sad, man. I want to see more Nate, dude.
He has had one fight this year. I mean, I wouldn't hate that fight. He is a little higher up in the rankings, a more exciting guy. I wouldn't hate that fight, though. I think Juicy J, Julian Erosa, or Nate Landeweir is definitely going to be a good fight for either man. So
yeah, just do that.
Next fight was Ramzan Temirov, just absolutely running over and steamrolling poor old CJ Vergara. I mean, he hit him so hard that he just started to run. And I thought CJ was not a world beater, not like one of the top guys in this division, but certainly like a tough guy. And I had my doubts on Ramzan getting a finish, just because I wasn't sure how he would look against UFC caliber guys. But turns out that doesn't mean shit. He looked amazing and beat the hell out of CJ, who, credit to him, he was hurt and he was running, but when he was up against the rope, the ring, and just about to get fucking slept, he did fight back a few times, delaying the inevitable 2.5 minute knockout in the first round of Ramzan. But talk to me. What'd you think about this one?
Yeah, God, what was I watching at the time that this was happening? I was watching a boxing fight. I might have been watching the main event as this was happening, because I was like, oh man, big action over here going on with Beterbiev. Always got Bivol on the ropes. Holy shit, what the fuck's going on down here? Oh my God, see, run, CJ, run! Get away from the damn Tamer and CJ. That was scary, dude. Like, as soon as he rocked Vergara, there was another guy that rocked Vergara at some point.
Yeah, Big Red was telling me about it. I
think it was Lacerda. It was Lacerda who dropped him. Yeah, and so if he gets dropped by Lacerda, he looked like he was on chicken legs during that. And so as soon as Temirov gets him down, like, now you're really in trouble, because this guy ain't natural. Okay, he dropped him like 3 or 4 times, just in the first round. Poor CJ Vergara, dude. But Temirov, he has the technique. He's the man of the hour. He's the man with the power. Too sweet to be sour. Good shit. Great debut. That is what you want as a debut. I think he got a bonus too. He better have gotten a bonus.
So. Yeah, he definitely should have. A matchup in mind for Ramzan.
I don't know. Where was CJ Vergara placed in the rankings?
I can't even fucking find him anywhere in the rankings, which is kind of weird. Maybe I'm looking too low. Oh, jeez.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't even see him anywhere. I don't even think he was like 15. Let's see. I think you could go high, though. I think the sky's the limit for this guy. They do have Peyton Talbot at 37, and I'm not suggesting that as a matchup for him. Look down here at the bottom, though. You got, let's see. Oh, there's Douglas Silva de Andrade. He is coming off of a loss, though. Taylor Lapilus, Ronnie Barcelos.
That'd be an interesting fight for sure. I don't know. Keep giving him cans for him to beat up as this crazy news Becky. Why not?
All right.
Part of the
I
fun.
like that. Let's build him up a little bit. Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. He's still pretty young, right?
Yes, Deadpool says Bivol won 7-5 and got robbed. Acknowledge it. Fuck you. No, he didn't. I watched it in real time. He didn't.
Well, okay, but like even if
draw.
you're saying that he got robbed, it was 7-5. I mean, that doesn't mean he got robbed. The fight was close. We already recapped that, and we were saying like I wouldn't have been mad if Bivol had been read as the winner of the fight, but nonetheless, it was a close fight, so I don't think he got robbed. No Show says you should have told me you were live, brother. I would have rated you. Had 27 viewers. No worries, man. I'm much more satisfied with who we rated instead. People sleep on her channel, but then again, so does she. All right, well, Deadpool is a huge fan of the show, obviously.
Big fan.
Thoughts on Rachel and Hud's? What? I think if you both wore name tags, your channel would blow up. That's fucking hilarious.
What we're doing, okay? Come on.
But anyway, good to see you. Who the fuck is this chick that he's talking about?
Rachel Ann Hudspeth Gibson. Oh, obviously the great granddaughter of Mel Gibson.
So he says, I too watched in real time. He got robbed.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a draw.
Again, I wouldn't have hated if he would have won. I scored it like one more round for Beterbiev, but yeah, it was a close fight. So even if you thought he won 7-5, one thing I will say though is that one judge had it 116 to 112 for Arthur. I thought that was like, that's a little wide on the scorecard.
Yeah. But, also, I wanted to tell you, No Chill, that when you're live, I don't send you the announcement just because I don't want to distract you while you're streaming. So I wanted to give you some common courtesy.
Says Hank, I know more about physical contact. Trust me.
Yeah. I don't know if he's touched grass before, though. I think he's
that's fair enough. The next fight was pretty bad. It was Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono. Alex Morono won the first round. Daniel Rodriguez won the second. It was a little closer, but then Alex Morono just proves why you should never pick him in a fight. Even if you think he's going to win, just don't pick him. But he just gasses out entirely. You should have made a really good point while he was live commentating this fight. He's like, look, you can see Alex Morono in the first round. He's bouncing around a lot. Wait till he stops. That's when Daniel Rodriguez is going to take over. And that's pretty much what happened. I thought the second round was close. You could have made a case for Alex possibly winning it. But nonetheless, I think that the D-Rod is the rightful winner. Alex Morono is terrible. He's terrible. Not just saying that because I picked him. And again, it was another like toss up. He asks whose picks are these on the screen. So when I'm talking, it's my picks, and then when he's talking, it's his picks. So, but yeah, I picked him to win like a dumbass. Roast me for it. I just thought that both these guys were pretty shot, but turns out that Daniel Rodriguez has a little more left in the tank. I'm really happy for him too because I do like his fighting style, and plus he's done the UFC lots of solids, stepping out on short notice, taking on tough opponents. So yeah, I mean he's just a better striker out of the two, especially after Alex Morono like just totally gasses out. That's probably his biggest issue is the gas tank. But yeah, what were your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I was surprised how well Alex Morono was doing in the first half of that fight. Like he had a counter for almost everything that Rodriguez was throwing. He's also the quicker of the two of them, which was shocking given that Morono is often very tentative and just waiting for his moment. And then he comes in. But this time he was like, had his fucking foot on the gas. First half of the fight, he was like, boom, hit you with a few combinations, boom, boom. And then if you come in, boom, I hit you with the left hand. What defined the fight was Morono gassing a little bit or just choosing not to pour on the aggression for the rest of the fight. And Rodriguez finding a way to avoid the counter punches of Morono more and knowing how to get in and then get out really quickly. That's what she said. But Daniel Rodriguez, he did have the power of the two of them. I think there were moments where he did stumble Morono, but I think a lot of it was like who was going to get the better of the exchanges. That's the guy who's going to win the fight. And Rodriguez found a way to have better exchanges than Alex Morono and able to pressure forward without worrying about a leg kick or a counter. So good job to Daniel D-Rod for adjusting to the fight style of Morono pretty well. And he got himself a decision. Was expecting a random ass knockout because Rodriguez, he's knocked out guys before, but no, he outpointed Morono. Good for him.
What's next for D-Rod?
Where is he ranked at this point? Like he's got to be like a little outside the rankings, right?
Yeah, he's 46 officially on Topology's rankings, but I think inside of the UFC, he's got a little more standing.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Just all the
Yeah.
favors that he's done for him. He was coming off of a 3-fight losing streak heading into this, so I wouldn't hate it if they gave him somebody on the come up. But I mean, there's a pretty big divide in talent from the top of the division to the bottom, so matching up won't be super easy. I mean, you could give him Themba Karimbo, but I know
No,
you absolutely just hate that because we
oh,
kind of know how that would go.
so bad, man. That make me depressed. Seriously.
Yeah.
306 level depressed. That's not
There's
good.
Jake Matthews floating out there.
Yeah.
Maybe you run it
Oh,
back.
that's a good one. I'd have that. That's a good one.
All right, cool.
Matthews is always there to brawl. Thoughts on Diaz getting a ranked fight? Meanwhile, his last win was in 2011. He's a big name, and Connor came back and was going to fight a ranked opponent next. So that's how these guys are just treated sometimes. And honestly, it's a punishment for Nick Diaz because you're allowing Robbie Lawler to beat the shit out of you and TKO you. Luque could fucking take your head off your shoulder. So I've never felt like, oh, privileged Nick Diaz. I'm like, poor Nick Diaz. He's going to be like Tony Ferguson. That's a better matchup to make anyway.
Deadpool says no chill hating on the oppressed pothead is.
I know it is. It really is.
Last time Nick Diaz won, Stipe Miocic was 6-0, fighting for a promotion that doesn't exist anymore.
Yay!
Look, you know
that matchup.
I mean, Nick looked terrible in his last fight. I don't want to see Nick Diaz fight.
No, me neither.
And to me, it's like, like I've heard people say, like, oh, he's gonna fight Luque off of brain bleed. He's gonna Nick Diaz fuck Luque up. It's like I don't give a shit if fucking Luque broke his neck and his all his bones in his body. He's gonna beat Nick Diaz. Like I hate to break it to you guys.
Diaz
Luque's gonna whoop Nick Diaz's ass.
Diaz fought like he had a brain bleed in his last fight.
Last time Stipe was knocked out cold, Nick Diaz was awake. Cope. Skate. What is up, Douglas? I like a rematch between D-Rod and Leach. Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible option. Luque looked worse. Nick is gonna whoop him. Okay, all right, man. Well, anything can happen in the fight. I mean, but
I was down for Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. Me too. Why didn't they just make that?
Is he cut from the UFC? Well, and here's the other thing you guys got to remember about that fight is Nate already beat him. So like Nick and Nate don't like to fight their opponents their opponents that their brothers have fought. Thoughts on me aging like a young Johnny Depp?
I think you age more like
I don't know you, Deadpool. So I have no thoughts on that. What I do have thoughts on though is the fight between Grant Dawson and Rafa Garcia. I picked Grant Dawson to get it done by decision. Again, I've talked about it many times. You know, Grant Dawson having a long win streak, then running into Bobby Green, getting knocked out. Everyone's like, "Fuck this guy." They don't like his style. He's boring. And then he gets knocked out by Bobby Green, and that just adds fuel to the fire. This guy sucks. Fuck him. In this fight, though, and I think it was pretty obvious he was going to win. Rafa Garcia, you know, all he had was a hope and a prayer. But I will say that Grant Dawson, man, he definitely impressed me in this fight, man. He pretty much mauled Rafa Garcia, TKOing him in the second round. Good shit for him. I liked it a lot. And then the post-fight speech, obviously, is the talk of the town, saying his wife has a dump truck you can bounce a quarter off of. Let's go. Yeah, I think just a revived and new version of Grant Dawson.
Yeah, I will say that he's not restored and revived in terms of his stand-up ability on the feet, because he's like, and I throw a leg kick at the same time that I throw a right hand. Like, there's moments where he is going to get chinned if he keeps.
His grappling is impeccable, though.
Oh, no. Listen. I'm going to talk about the grappling just a second. I'm just saying that on the feet, there's still a good chance that he is going to get chinned, but on the ground, I completely agree with you. He is fully improved. He's actually trying to get into more advantageous positions. He's not just getting the back and like, I can hang out here and I'm going to keep him down there. Like, he wanted to get into full mount, and then he got into mount, and then he was boom, left hands around the guard. He was actually trying to finish his opponent, and then he found the fucking he found the KO. Yeah, he just kept getting through the guard, beating the shit out of him. He had that killer instinct, dude, and I don't think he earned himself a bonus. He did not earn himself a bonus, but honestly, I would have considered him as a bonus just because you get rewarded for actually like coming full circle and finally getting the knockout that everybody wanted you to get. So like, if anything, I think that's worthy of like a promotion. Great stuff from Grant Dawson. He finally has the killer instinct, and we had a great post-fight interview as well. And honestly, I got to say this: I think that interviews combined with finishes should be worthy of a bonus. If you're having the moment that like draws the eyes to what's going on, and he had the most memorable interview out of everybody. Good shit, dude. Like he has fully like had a transformation before our very eyes. And now all the people that were hating on Grant Dawson saying, "Oh, he can't finish. Oh, he's so boring." Look at him now, dude. He's obviously still going to have that "I'm laying on you" kind of style. He was showing that at first in the fight, but now he actually has the ability to finish, and people can actually take him seriously and realize that he was the nice guy he was all along, and that we should support him.
And his wife is not bad either. But what is next for Grant Dawson, in your opinion?
He was just fighting for a top 15 spot, right?
Yes, and then he got chinned by Bobby Green. I don't. You mentioned like it's worthy of a promotion, and I don't think you meant exactly this when you said that. But like when I hear that, I'm like, oh, have him fight up the rankings. I don't know about that necessarily.
No, I mean in terms of like rewarding for.
Yes, sure. So he's at 15 currently in Tapology's rankings. But I think there's 22 to 19. I'll read them off. Dracar Close, Carlos Diego Ferreira, Ludovic Klein, and Fares CM. I think any four of those guys is.
I honestly like him versus Fiera.
Yes, yes, me too. That's
a 3-round fight.
CDF. I think that's a test in the grappling department. I think CDF, obviously way older, but be a good name for his resume. It's a test for the striking and also the grappling. So yeah,
and if he finishes him on the ground, world's his oyster, dude. Then he can get about anybody.
Deadpool says that Hank got audio mogged and didn't get off his insult. Now's the time. He wants you to insult him. He wants to smoke.
Oh man, he's got that masochistic fetish. I see. Okay, well, I was just quoting what that old lady was in the first Deadpool movie. You look like an avocado if it had sex with another avocado. Okay, with cancer. So.
They're having a chat about something, but anyway.
Good old
so the next fight was pretty bad fight in my opinion.
Horrible.
Pretty bad fight. This is around this time I was telling Isha this card's terrible. Both these guys are terrible, and Isha was like, "No, dude, this fight's great. This fight's great. MMA's amazing."
Half glass empty, Statesman. Half glass empty.
You know, he's called us all reactionary MMA fans that only watch the UFC. I mean, look, I think that he's got a point. But at the same time, this fight was bad. I did pick Jared Gooden to get it done. But it just shows you that like if you can't take down Chidi and hold him there, well, that's a little. If Jared Gooden couldn't have taken down Chidi and hold him there, he was gonna lose this fight. And it was Chidi that was doing the holding against the fence. This was a clinch clinic, as Isha coined it.
I think that's what he did against Reese McKee.
Yeah, and it's just like Chidi was gassed. Both of them were totally gassed out by the end of the second round.
Yeah,
middle of the second round, and I just I'm done. I'm done with the Chidi bang bang experiment. The guys.
There's no bang bang in him. No bang bang.
Even in kickboxing or even in Muay Thai and kickboxing, like he wasn't really that great of a fighter. And he's just bringing that over into MMA, stinking up the joint. I don't care anymore about him. And same with Jared Gooden. Like I don't know. I don't even know what this fight was. Middleweight sucks. Get it out of here. Get out of my face.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And I had hope. I had freaking hope for Jared Gordon in this fight because just right out of the gate, he went for the takedown and he got it. He got it on Chidi. The problem was he was a little too hasty when it came to trying to get the back and find the submission because he got it in the backpack and then, oh, nope, I slipped out. So, now I'm never going to even try to get into that same position ever again or outmuscle him or stay on top. Just allow Chidi to lean on him, as Bill Withers said. And I got to give credit to Chidi for at least throwing a bunch of knees.
No, don't.
I will not give Chitty credit
Thank
for
you.
throwing a bunch of knees. Absolutely horrible work from Chitty Bang Bang. I would cut him based off a win, damn it. He's stinking up that whole welterweight division. Well, he's looking geriatric. He's looking washed despite being in his
Is this
late
welterweight?
30s. Yeah. You cut him from the
Oh, my
welterweight.
apologies.
Absolutely horrible. And cut Jared Gordon too. And you know why? I said Jared Gordon. Don't cut Jared Gordon. The man's been under the Madison Square Garden venue smoking crack. Okay, don't do that to Jared Gordon. But Jared Gooden cut him because he's a fucking idiot. He got on top of Chitty Njokuani, and then he stood up. He stood him up after 10 whole minutes of Chitty Njokuani leaning against him and kneeing him over and over and over again. And now you finally have a moment where you're in the advantage and you have him on the ground.
I hated this whole fight.
And he let him back up. So Jared Gooden deserves every bad thing that ever happens to him for allowing Chitty to get back.
Well, gee, that's fucking crazy.
Both of them. Cut them both
Oh
from
my
the
gosh.
UFC. Horrible.
All right. Let's move on to the next fight. Jung Park defeats Brad Tavares. Was not easy. He gets dropped like pretty much immediately. He gets dropped by Brad Tavares, and I was starting to go, "Oh shit, is Brad Tavares going to win this fight?" But nonetheless, Jung Park does some good work, gets back in the fight, and I thought that what's weird about Park is though he did get dropped immediately, I think he's got good hands, man, and I think his grappling is, though it's like his strong suit. I thought in this fight, if he would have just kept exchanging with Brad, he could have knocked him out. There was a time too in the third round where it appeared he was on his way to getting a knockout. But I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna say Park looked bad in this fight. But Brad Tavares is that vet. He's a serviceable fighter. Though he's just totally washed at this point.
Mm-hmm. He's getting beat up by everybody.
I still thought Park had a pretty decent performance, though I even picked him to get a knockout. What was your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I was just surprised that Jung Park got chinned right out of the gate and sent.
But again, it's against Brad Tavares, who's obviously never knocked. I don't think he has one knockout in the UFC, but definitely a fantastic striker. So it wasn't super shocking to me.
Yeah. But at the same time, that it was so early in the fight was what surprised me. But also what surprised me was that there were moments where the Iron Turtle was actually able to get Brad Tavares down to the ground. And everybody, a lot of people who picked Tavares were like, dude, this guy's got the greatest takedown defense.
You guys are dumb. Listen to our show. I mean, we don't get every pick right, but
yeah.
Come on.
But he was able to get him down in the second round and get him down in the third round. The third round was what clinched it for him. Wasn't exactly the most fun fight. Towards the end, Denial was pissed at me for giving the Iron Turtle any credit for this fight, which was absolutely fucking.
Yeah, a lot of people were really down on the Iron Turtle after this performance. I
don't get it. Have you not watched the Iron Turtle? This is what he does.
Right.
Okay, so you're obviously not an avid Iron Turtle enjoyer, which is good. That's on you. That's on you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, he's a decent striker and probably an even better grappler. So
yeah,
what he does is this game.
But I thought the best sequence from Park was when he took him down very briefly in round 2, and then as Tavares got back up, bam, 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 left hand, and then it was just Tavares on the back foot for the rest of the round. He totally got into Tavares' head, and I think that's really what turned the tide and helped win the Iron Turtle fight. So I'm really happy that Iron Turtle got a win, especially after I think he had a bad decision against Andre Muniz. So got the Iron Turtle back on track, baby. I don't know what his ceiling is. I do think that he gets beat by somebody in the top 10, top 15 at middleweight, but still impressive win in my opinion, especially
I think he'll be floating around the top 15 for most of his UFC run. I don't think he'll ever be a serious contender in the weight class, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Deadpool says Jared Gordon. Yeah, he beat Patty, right, Hank?
Yes, he did beat Patty, and then the judges took it away from him.
Douglas says, Skate, I know who you are. Well, interesting.
It's a Skatesman. My God.
Tell me. That was zesty. Sit down, Hank. Work on it. Pipe down. Sit down. All right.
Wow. People are angry in our chat.
So that just goes to show you got to turn your camera off when you go do shit. But anyway, Brandon Royval defeats Tetsuro Taira via decision. This fight had severely depressed our friend here, Hank the Tank. He was not in a good mood after this fight. Said that Tetsuro Taira was fraud checked and ruined his entire career. Giving it some time to simmer.
Now, to be fair, I said that during the 5th round when he refused to shoot a takedown in the first half of that round. So Isha thought that I was like saying that afterwards, after he lost. I think he sort of made it out of context. Like when I get mad at a guy for not doing what your coach is probably telling you to do, yeah, I'm gonna sort of snap on you. But I didn't say that after the fight. To be fair.
So again, letting it simmer after a day, do you still feel the same way?
I think that he's not going to win a belt. I don't think he's going to win the flyweight belt. Does he get a title fight? If the UFC's desperate enough when Pantoja beats Asakura, maybe they'll give him Kai Kara France for a number 1 contenders fight. Who knows? But I think his ceiling's lower than a lot of people. People are like, oh, he's a future champion once he grows up. Like, I don't think his striking is going to be any better on top when he's 28, 32. He just has weak form with his striking on top, and I don't think it's going to change. I think that's how he was trained in Japan, and I don't think it's going to improve all that much unless he changes gyms. But that's just my opinion.
I thought this fight was fantastic.
It was, yeah, for sure.
Classic. I was super, super impressed that Taira was able to just have that body lock that he did for most of the fight. I think he racked up like 12 minutes and 15 seconds of control time throughout the fight. It was shocking, like how good he was able to control Brandon Royval on the ground. And because Royval is he's one of the most scrambly guys in the game. He was not able to really do much once Taira had him down. Though he was at times advancing position. He had the more sub attempts in this fight with 3 and Taira only with 1. But when it was on the feet, man, holy shit, Royval damn near knocked out Tetsuro Taira in the 3rd round. Mm-hmm. And then the 4th round, he has him down for most of the fight. And by the 5th, Brandon Royval was just racking out. I think he almost doubled him up on significant strikes. Fantastic fight. I was super impressed with Tetsuro Taira. Though he doesn't win the fight, he was kind of teed up to be the next title contender after Kaya Sakura gets his title shot. But nonetheless, dude, I think that Taira showed me a lot of really good stuff in this fight. And again, I'm really impressed with him. Though he loses, I don't think in my book his stock really goes down because this was like the ultimate test for him up to this point. And yeah, man, he didn't pass it, but I rode with the raw dog. I said he'd get it done. And this is why just the vet in there, you know what I'm saying? Better hands, maybe not the most. I mean, when he gets a knockout, it's like some crazy flying knee or spinning elbow shit. But he wasn't able to land that on Tetsuro Taira. But yeah, man, raw dog in true raw dog fashion, he dogged this one out and gets the win. Man, it was super impressive to see. Fantastic fight.
Yeah. I was aggravated that Taira had him in a body lock so many times and just could not for the life of him get in that chokehold. But I think that's more on the part of Royval just having really good work fighting the hands and avoiding submissions than anything else. If he could survive Pantoja for 5 rounds, he can survive Taira for 5 rounds. And I should have honestly considered that. Apparently the dude has the chin equivalent to Raul Rosa fucking Jr.'s because you cannot get a rear naked choke on this man to save your life. And honestly, I think that's what allowed Royval to win, is that in moments where Taira had him down dead to rights, he refused to give up. And when things got back to the feet, he just beat the absolute tar out of Tetsuro Taira and had a good job stuffing the takedowns towards the second half of the fight as well. I think it just comes down to that. It was very back and forth, titter tat, blow for blow. Royval wins first round. Taira takes the second. Royval takes the third. Taira takes the fourth, and then Royval took the 5th. So it's just a chess match back and forth. Who's going to get the body lock first? Who's going to beat him up and stay on the feet first? So, Royval had the head start, and he allowed himself to take 2 more rounds. Simple as that. So, Not
Yeah,
much to say, dude.
100%.
It was actually a really simple fight when you think about it.
Yeah. And again, like the Edgar Chairez fight was really what made me go, okay, Brandon's got this.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I understand your opinion. It's like it was so dumb of him not to just shoot for a takedown immediately in the first round. But I mean, if you go for a takedown that's not set up very well, like it's gonna get stuffed,
Well,
and the fight would have
what
just played out the
honestly,
same
the
anyway.
moment that I'm the most angry about is that in the 5th round, when obviously both teams have probably told their fighters, dude, it's 2-2. This is it. This is the deciding round. Royval threw a punch and then he slipped. And there was no moment where Taira took advantage and it was like, I'm gonna try to get him down. He's down. I'm just gonna try to keep him down. He's just like, nope. I'm just gonna keep him back up and let him slip. And that threw away the whole fight for him at the end.
Well, it's funny that you would be so down on Tyra after this, but then second that with the Steve Urseg performance against Pantoja when he made a bad mistake and Pantoja jumped all over him in the 5th round, you weren't as down on Steve Urseg. You were arguably a bigger fan of.
Well, that's because that was a title fight, and he was doing a great performance on the champion of the world and clearly outboxing him. Like, I know that we have our slips every now and again, but I don't know. Like he went for that takedown, and to be fair to Urseg, like he tried to take him down at several points in that fight in order to get an advantage on the feet or to throw off the timing of Pantoja, and it was working. So I can understand him like instinctively. It worked before. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to try it. In this case, it was just a random like, holy shit, Royval's down. He tripped. He's on the ground, and he didn't do anything. And the killer instinct just wasn't there. And I don't know. It's just when it's a contenders fight, it means more. And unfortunately,
Wait. If it's a contenders fight, it means more than a championship fight?
Yeah, because Roundtree had that championship fight with Pereira, and then he still got a bunch of stock from it. It's like, oh, not like it's over. Whereas like contenders, like you need to get to the mountaintop eventually in order to fight for a belt. So you're only going to get so many of those number one.
I would argue that a championship fight means the most.
I don't know. Like that's why I didn't knock Steve Urseg so much when he lost to Pantoja, because we were thinking, oh, he proved that he's championship material and he'll get there eventually. And then the rankings screw him over by keeping him down at number 9, and then Kai France knocks him out, and so now, it's over. Hype train's over. So you never fucking know.
I don't know, man. I don't think that the hype train on Tyra is like over. I don't think he ruined his career, got fraud checked.
No.
I thought he fought well, and I thought this fight was fantastic.
I think it's going to take Tyra a little while to get back up. I think that's what my conclusion is.
Royval is just that dude, though.
Yeah, he's that dude who's going to lose to Pantoja again in the trilogy.
I mean, yeah, but like probably everybody is,
Yeah, I don't know. There's just certain flyweight fighters where I just think it's going to be a burden having them in a title fight because they're not going to win.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. MMA is supposed to be fun, man. It's supposed to be fun.
Flyweight division is not fun. I fucking hate the flyweight division.
All right, well, that's fair enough.
So
Douglas apparently knows my identity. He says, "Don't worry, fam. Game not over." Dude, if you know my identity, I literally don't care. So if you actually know me, that's cool, man. Hell yeah, cool.
I don't like threats towards my partner, by the way. So
I don't think he was threatening me. He just said he knows who I am, and
I know
whatever. It's all good. Like I honestly don't care. He says he's not gay like a lot of other people in the online community. Well, there you go. Look, we don't kink shame around here.
Right.
Yeah, if there was someone I want to know everything about me, it'd be Doug. Hank looks like the healthiest I've ever seen him. Keep moving forward. Championship Championship only. Championship only. You look tired, Skatesman. Keep sleeping. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Cheeky pool. All right, well, any other thoughts? Does the chat have anything else to say about the way we look or anything like that? You have any other thoughts on the weekend in general? What are you looking forward to next weekend?
There's a lot of shit going on next weekend in particular. That's going to be pretty productive. Let me take a look at Topology just to see. Like we're gonna.
Shiloh says he loves trashy white bitches. I am right there with you, Shiloh.
Yes, sir. So we got LFA, and I just love watching LFA, so that's always fun. It's been a while since we've seen an LFA card. Yeah, whatever. They get more.
I hate the flyweight division, but I love LFA. All right, man.
Dude, they have like 88%.
I triggered him. I'm sorry.
UFC. They're like on the same level as Cage Warriors. They are in the top 3 promotions of finishes. Okay, doesn't matter what the name is. It's got fucking action and violence. It's the only promotion I've ever actually watched live, so it means a hell of a lot to me. Okay. And then we have Brave CF. Yippee!
Wow, Brave and LFA this weekend is incredible.
Wow. And then hey, it's good for my locks and underdogs, okay? I need this, please. And then KSW, Royd Freak, Polish Chads. PFL, we got Ngannou and Ferreira.
Oh, that's right.
Giants. It's coming up, as well as a bunch of other super fights between PFL stars. And then UFC Fight Night. Michelle Pereira and Fluffy Hernandez. I fucking love that main event. That's going to be so much fun. Main event's great. Prelims are looking so I'll have Ngannou and Ferreira to watch in the meantime for those. And then we got Tim Sue fighting in boxing. So there's a quite a few regional MMA and boxing promotions.
Also Rise.
Yeah, honestly, a bunch of these organizations are bringing their A game for next.
I'm going to stay up I'm going to stay up to ungodly hour on Saturday and do a Rise fight companion 100%.
Yeah, for sure. And also it's going to be unfortunately, the last week of Contender Series on Tuesday.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell us what you got coming up this week as far as streams go and videos and shit.
I'm going to be doing my Contender Series fight companion on Tuesday. Going to be taking a little break on Monday just to rest up, to clear the air, enjoy myself. I am going to be picking for Tuesday Muhammad Otto. I think I'm going to be going with Julieta Martinez, then Yadier Del Valle, Luis Gurul, and then finally Geraldo Souza. That is what I'm planning, although those picks may change come Tuesday. And then I'm going to have good old Hank's Think Tank for the craziest and cringiest in MMA news. Then Hank the Tank and the Skatesman's preview for a whole bunch of shit happening on the weekend. Maybe on Friday you'll see another fight companion from the Skatesman or early Saturday morning. And then Hank the Tank's going to be doing a fight companion for both PFL, Ngannou and Ferreira, and for Fluffy Hernandez and Michelle Pereira. So those two are going to be bangers. I'm not going to be watching any of the boxing afterwards, though.
Muay Thai Fane ready for Pontiac. Let's go. Pontiac's coming back, I think, next week. So maybe on the 1 card. So, yeah, that'll be sick. Before we get out of here, he asks, who wins between Ali and Holmes in 1980?
Didn't Ali suffer a really bad loss in 1980?
Dude, Larry Holmes beat the hell out of Muhammad Ali, and I think it was in 1980.
1980 and 1981. So yeah, I think it's gonna be old Holmes.
I'll go Holmes, but anyway, that's it, man. That's it for us. All I have to say for my final words is MMA is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, you have escaped the war zone for now. I am so unhappy. Fuck you.